Okay. So this is a scary story. It's a very, very scary story about small people. About very, very, very small people.
Rain forecast for 7.
Yeah, no rain.
7 o'clock.
No rain at all.
Okay. It's up to you.
Oh, no, it's up to you.
You can make the call. Maybe outdoor bright shows. Maybe we should have it. There aren't many more of us, I think.
Any more what?
Well, this bright, I don't think.
This one?
Bright.
Oh, no. Well,
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I know, he does mumble. You said...
Hamburger's got... Piss off. I can work with these guys anymore.
Should we pick on
As
him
if he
again?
doesn't. if his wife doesn't understand him.
No, his wife, after 30 years, doesn't understand.
It's a very, and I'll always say it's very. It's a very.
So it can start scares.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Kind of feeling I should have had a pee. I guess it's...
There's time down there.
Time.
I wouldn't mind one.
Okay.
Yep.
Probably a good idea. All 10 drops.
Okay, now I get you're all wondering why we got you here. What is in fact we're doing? Well, not enough people know how hard we work. They all think it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll and wine, women, and song. Well, it is just that, actually.
Not 25 years or something. One? Yeah.
Hi! Who's this?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Strapped in. So I'm stuck.
Hello, Dad. Have you been waiting long?
We've been waiting for you.
15 years.
Darling. Good to see you too. Are we actually doing it today, or we just sort of say hello?
Just we're doing nothing.
So, there's always a problem. The long songs are
Long.
long.
Home on a seat.
They take up a lot of space.
Domino, I think of it as a two-part thing like Home by the Sea, but it isn't, is it? What is it, Domino? I haven't heard
Well, it
Domino.
is a bit. I mean, there's the song part, and then there's the diddling, 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 ding. You with me, actually? You got it.
We wrote all those last 3 or 4 albums together in the studio, and there's something, I felt we had something that came out of that, but none of us really did individually, and I like that. We brought things out of each other that we wouldn't have otherwise done.
I really did. I had a great time. And the thing that I really enjoy almost more than the music is the laughing. We have a great time together. And we play some music,
In terms of playing live music, this is the most obvious, it's probably all I've got really, in a way. And I'm proud of all the music we've done.
The whole thing really is based around the fact that the two of us, and with Phil, put us in a room and we start playing, something quite special happens.
There's the first part. Well, no, we're talking about doing the acoustic part as well.
It's the tune. We all sing it. Are you sure about the song part?
I don't know.
I'm fine.
Why that particular old song? The trouble is only one old song.
A couple of old songs in their entirety. That's why.
Do you know how one goes, Cinema Show? The song part is, I had a funny tune, I don't know what the fuck it was.
Well, just try a few and see what happens.
Have you got a 12-string?
Blue string?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a Daryl.
Thank you.
Let's start with the simple.
Let's do. What's easy?
We're done. What time is it? Are we done today?
We just started. We come. We made a couple of tunes, then we had lunch.
It's not meant to be rehearsal now, so I feel it's going too fast.
There you go.
There you go. What's that tuning?
Well, how's he going to know?
Teaching's in harmony. I'm quite enjoying it so far.
Will make my bed, she said, with time to go. Can she be late for her cinema show?
Okay, that's a good idea.
I will make my bed with her tonight. Can he fail, armed with his giant surprise? Listen to the old one speak of all he has lived through. I have crossed between the poles. For me there's no mystery. Once a man like the sea I raged. Once a woman like the earth I gave, but there is in fact more earth than sea.
Great, it's that same old question. What is it about the chemistry of three different people coming together, and what's created then is so different from anything that they can do individually? I mean, you can look at virtually every band and see the same thing. The Floyd, when you put the Floyd together, Jagger and Richards, I mean, same thing. Lennon and McCartney, all of them. And so, I don't, if you could discover what that chemistry was, you'd be a very rich man, probably.
Do you want to look at it in too deep?
Sure. It might sound fantastic. It's a big hit with the girls, this one. All the time I was searching, nowhere to run. It started me thinking, wondering what I could make of my life. And who'll be waiting, asking all kinds of questions to myself, but never knowing the answer. Crying at the top of my voice.
Try going down a tone. Just I feel that. I just feel that.
Crying at the crying at the.
Well, let's put it this way. We haven't tried this one yet.
Crying at the top of my voice.
I know. How much is that?
Crying at the top of my crying at the top of my voice.
So the compromise is.
Crying at the top of my voice.
Basically, you normally go up to it.
Crying at the top, crying.
That's the normal.
Crying at the top of my. I think it's too high. I think it is too high. Is it? I came back from one of the rehearsals the other day, actually, and I just thought, this band could be an incredible band if we just were just that little bit more talented. I actually said it to myself. I said, if you could have that kind of that confidence that, you know, like you think that people like U2 have, like, they kind of know exactly what they're doing. Whereas I think I don't know if that is the case. I mean, maybe they're just as fragile as we are, but sometimes, you know, we're on a knife edge and you're never quite sure whether it's going to happen. I just think that if we had a couple of funny days where I just thought, man, we could be good if we just had a little bit more talent.
Listen. Getting ready to kick some ass, man. Getting
ready to try to kick some ass, aren't you?
It is so exciting. You three guys had a long, terrific thing together, you know. And man, when the people see this again, it's going to be, oh boy.
So, 15 years have passed since you performed in the States as Genesis, is that right? What has made this the right time?
Have you asked your ex-partner, Peter Gabriel, to come to the comeback?
It could be okay or not?
What?
Peter.
How hard have you tried to convince Steve Hackett or Peter Gabriel to participate in this historic reunion?
Well, they would never have been part of this, you know. I mean, we'd only be doing, even if we did something with Pete, it would only be The Lamb or leading up to The Lamb. You know, you wouldn't have, most of the material you heard today would not be included in that. So this is something totally separate.
It's a different project. Yeah. Well, they're both good projects.
Different life, yeah.
Rock-faced rooster, press my skin. Why did we turn sour within some fast? Turn sour, turn sweat, turn sour. Still myself and I'm not here. I'm going here. Fucking a strong correction. My distortion, close incision. Get me out of this game.
We originally talked of doing The Lamb, 4 shows in 5 cities around the world, or 5 shows in 4 cities around the world. Something special, film it, DVD it, whatever you want to do. But so when I said, well, that's what we're doing, it was kind of, no, that's what we're doing with Pete. What we're doing now is like something different. This is like, we could do anything now.
So the story is very simple. You can do multiple arenas, which means 6 to 7 cities, and do 3 to 4 nights in each of them. Or do 20 shows of a bigger stature.
But again, that's kind of because we can, isn't it? I mean, is that definitely the right thing to do?
Take the premise that where would we prefer to play?
Obviously, if you do stadiums, you're maximising.
I think it should be stadiums because I perceive Genesis, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, the great bands of all time, and I think it's big time and it should be done big time, and people think it is big time. I think it's more special to play one larger date.
The specialness is to some extent created by the fact that it's us guys together after 15 years together, you know,
Yeah.
so I mean it's not so much the size of it that's supposed to be special.
I tell you there's 2 arguments. I think you create more of a presence, and if we're going to go out for this once, let's make it a big presence.
I don't know how many stadium shows you go to as a fan, or me even. I just know that it's like we're missing an opportunity if we don't do this. You know, it's like, and just by nature, from speaking personally, I wants to play the bit of music to people.
I understand what you're saying about that, but everybody plays arenas. Pop groups do 3, 4, 5. Cell Life, I do 4 nights at Wembley Arena. So Genesis do 3 nights at Wembley Arena. How exciting is that? Do you see what I mean?
No, I just think the idea of it being something special. Somewhere in Germany, somewhere in France, somewhere in England, and somewhere central to a few other countries, we could do 4 nights and draw.
But that has suddenly occurred to me, what you just said defeats the argument of playing multiple nights in arenas because you play less cities and people have to travel more.
Don't fuck with me, John. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly
you know what I'm saying.
I was trying to be amusing.
I know.
The exclusivity is part of the appeal. Only 20 shows as opposed to trying to go to 40. Then you end up playing down the road from yourself. You know, I wouldn't necessarily look
Well, you
at
did 20
staying
shows without the singer if you do 40 shows. That's one thing to bear in mind.
Which show would you like? The one with
straight to the point. I personally, I'm not going to hold back on this. I don't want to do more than 20 shows.
Okay.
But I mean, surely we're here in many ways to talk about the main principle of the...
Yeah, the principle of doing 20 shows,
Exactly.
then working out where the 20 shows should be.
I don't think there is a choice, is it? I mean, I'd like to think there was a choice. But...
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well...
I feel like someone's got to hold the reins, otherwise it will be a runaway horse, you know. So, and really my life is so complicated that I'm thinking of other things, not just me going out there and singing. I'm just thinking of a balance of keeping everything that I want to do, or should do at this point in my life, you know, there, and nobody else has that agenda, understands that agenda, but me, really. I mean, everybody says, yeah, I understand it must be difficult, or it must be crazy, you know, but I'm the only one that ends up sort of not seeing my own kids. So I'm very bloody minded about not going back and doing, you know, wasting time, if you like.
Please, babe.
Marvellous.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's great. So I wish we gave more.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
Hello, guys. You all right? Oh, dear. See, I should have sound checked.
Yep.
Chaps, why have you waited 15 years for this reunion?
Why have we waited 15 years?
What have you been doing?
Why? Actually, we just sort of felt that now was the kind of the right time to have a go at it, you know.
Yeah. And so you're a big European tour. Are you going to be touring in the US next year?
Yeah, there's plans to do a selection of shows, which is the way I like to look at it. I've stopped touring, so I won't call it a tour. This is a selection of shows that we're doing all over Europe, and then another selection of shows, which we'll be doing
it's
in
kind
America.
of a showcase, isn't it? All over Europe and America.
And there's only 20 of these, and there's only 20 in America. You know, that doesn't seem like a tour. It seems more like a sort of selection of shows, really.
Although it's written on the screen there, the tour.
Good God! Ignore it.
Okay, well, that's it. Thank you very much for coming, everyone.
Genesis reunited reunion. There's something, you know, you probably don't see it quite as such, but there is it's sort of a buzzword, and maybe it's reminding people of their own school reunion. Or how do you explain that fascination?
I don't get the question.
Yes, listen.
No, I was listening. I mean,
will you adapt to his clothing, or will you adapt to their clothing?
What do you think of Sting's Loot album?
No idea.
Is it? Okay. Oh, the time flies by. Just two quick ones then. Who do you think is going to come and see you? Is it sad blokes leaving, you know, who live with their mums who come and see you, or is that a harsh caricature?
Yes, that's a harsh caricature.
I'm sorry, Phil.
Hi. I have to go.
Okay, right now?
Yes, right now.
One question?
No, right now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm very, very sorry. I have to get on a plane to go see my son. So.
Okay, well, thank you very much, sir.
Sorry.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
See you.
And I'll email you my medley ideas.
Now, the way I see it...
Didn't mind.
Mr. Collins, I'm sorry about you,
Go on, Mark. Sure.
What you've got here, you've got two books. If you start on page 1, you see the conversation I had with Patrick, which is in blue. We talked about various ways of doing interesting things at the end of a stadium. One idea, which is illustrated in the first few pages, is of having a lot of towers which can have lights that climb up and down them. And then I finally got to page 5, where I firmed this up into a sort of number 1 possible firm idea, the fact that as a band you take up very little space. One thing which would be very interesting to do would be to put you in a capsule and change the position of that capsule relative to the backdrop, almost as a caravan, as a vehicle, as a pod. And it's basically on a giant forklift truck that we build as part of the backdrop, which started off at the front of the stage like this, got picked up and did this and flew back, and it's shown here up in the air in this sketch. This is this thing that could go up and down. So you could have it down low, and then slowly the whole band goes up, and you fill the space underneath with video picture.
I do suffer quite badly from vertigo.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought I'd mention that before.
Or you could get off. Just before they went out. We'll give you a green light.
I don't mind sending the cigarette, you know. But, I don't, you know, honestly, I just have to say that, I mean, certainly the height that is there, which is also the sort of height of the PA towers and stuff, you know.
I don't know, we could... Well, we need to come back to that one.
Genesis are at their best in concert. Nearly everywhere they play, they take the audience by storm. And last year, they were voted #1 live band in the world.
You know, if you go back to the early days of Genesis, they were always theatrical. They always had, you know, even the stage presentations before we had before we had film and video, they were always three-dimensional. You know, if you go back to when Peter was there with Watcher of the Sky with the makeup and the bat wings, it was a very three-dimensional look. You know, you'd get this depth in the stage.
We've always, you know, had a big visual show. In the early days, obviously, we didn't really have any helpers. We just did it ourselves. Back in the days of, you know, Landhouse down at Broadway, and the idea sort of came from within the group, and we expanded on, and we used to get people to help us, you know, but it very much started with us. And over the years, you know, you start to sort of find people who you can get your ideas through, and who've got practically minded people who can perhaps get it to the next stage.
But I think generally all of us have had a theatrical kind of taste.
This is where we left it last time. I'm not completely happy with it, but I'm happy with the idea that we have this very contained stage inside a larger sculpture. Immediately behind it, there's a wall of high-resolution LED screen, which means it produces a high-resolution picture.
What's behind here?
A low-resolution LED net, which is...
Does this netting move?
No. We think that it would be lifted up during the afternoon and it would be fixed. So
I have to be honest, just the back of my mind, what I always had was it looked a bit sort of Roger Deans, you know, the way you draw it up. Whereas going up and coming down, I like.
Well, if we were to do that, we would then make a cargo net and design it in such a way that it was lifted up and down in the show.
It gives us the ability to bring the whole lot up from the beginning, which would be one of the biggest gags.
So you can start with it down?
Yeah, but I'm not convinced that this is a good shape, and this business of the lights, I just think I need to...
I am quite nervous about... I don't think there's enough light there. What do we think about lasers?
Could do lasers.
And what are you talking about? Laser shapes? Bit of a waste of time, isn't it?
Fireworks, on the other hand.
I think fireworks are a good
or
gag.
Fire, or just explosions.
Balls that would fire in the air.
You can get some big flames as well these days. You get huge.
Yeah. We've
Well, anything else on this?
No.
I can't work it out.
I need a sort of basic starting point, I think, for every song. Because I'll go mad otherwise.
Is that new?
Yeah.
I mean, really new?
Yes. I got a guitar, cut it in half.
You cut it in half?
It's like the top one's a bit far that way.
You want to kind of go...
Don't you? So, my name's Mike. My guitar's a bit off-centre.
Well, just a touch of this. What we're starting with?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's good. There's another couple of bars there. I'm still going. I'm still creating. You need me, don't you? Do you need more of me?
I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Slide the family stone. Now you've got to do it for real, yeah?
Huh?
Now you've got to do it for real.
Scary. I'm scared. It's based on a rhythm thing, you know, so it's kind of, I've got to find out what that rhythm felt like. Don't worry about it. It's not your problem, Max. It's my problem. Fill up.
Every instrument you need to rehearse, you need to practice on your own. And, you know, those guys aren't the type that do that, you know, and I am, and maybe Chester is, so it wasn't as hard for us.
It's funny, it's about now, someone said the other day is that, you know, you kind of yearn for the nostalgia of doing it. And then when you get there, it's hard work, you know.
All right. And here is the stadium show, a rendition.
All these bits, how, you know, they come down and... You remember that? I think so, yeah.
This is what we saw before, yeah.
Just so to put it in context, Phil, I've got a drawing here, just so you know what kind of what. There you are. But in that, the outside screens aren't quite right. They've kind of made them.
Put it on the stage where we're on, it's quite small, but to make some adjustments. Do you hear that?
The stage?
Well, the band is on, a bit small.
You're kidding me?
No. But I think we can probably make some adjustments.
We've got a huge stage, and it's not big enough for you.
Well, the area we're in is raised up, isn't it?
Is it?
The bit we're on.
How can it be small? We got 68 fucking metres wide.
Oh, but the bit we're actually on, the raised up bit we're on, is very tight, you said.
Oh dear. Right.
It is that.
Nice. That bit. From a musical point of view, we haven't quite worked that one out yet.
We can't do the
You're coming to the wrong bit, huh? You're coming from Cage, aren't you?
So, how's it go? Where am I going? I'll never get there. Okay, so that's quite good.
It's just, you know, it's just that.
There's no climax though. I mean, that kind of blah felt like a bit of a full stop. So you can't do
I can, I just think the thing is already borderline length anyhow.
Even if it's a blank one without you playing. Yeah, I like that.
But you know that push, you know blah and 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 blah.
Unless you go to the black and 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 black.
I mean, considering we're playing in caves and giant places, you almost need a bigger gap to make it work, you know, to make it.
Anyway, Tony and Mike together are more of the spirit of Genesis than me. You know, it's like people just don't know. They just think, you know, the singer's the guy that does it all because he sings, and that's the link, and that's always been the problem. They thought Peter Gabriel did it all, and it really wasn't that way.
From a stage point of view and everything, you know, without people like that who can actually communicate with the crowd, you can't get anywhere. But from the point of view of the music we're doing, the writing of it, you know, I mean, it's always been one of my major roles in this group is to write music. Because, you know, back in the time when Pete first left, you know, Mike and I were definitely doing the lion's share of the writing, because that's, and even before that. But in the later part, you know, certainly Phil's contribution came up more to a kind of level with ours. I mean, that was the thing. I'd say it was very much an even thing on those last 2 Genesis albums we did.
The songs that people now know of Genesis, like I Can't Dance, Hold on My Heart, Invisible Touch, Mama, those kind of songs have got a lot of me in them, but they would never have happened without the other guys.
A bit more authentic. There we go.
Maureen. The camera's on you, so come on, you press again.
Very quickly, an overview of the way that we're planning to use the video, which is 6 or 7 pieces that have been made specifically for specific songs, and that's, I guess, what Tom's going to show us now.
Cage, still beginning-ish of the set, potentially.
And that spreads as long as you need it, does it?
Exactly, yeah. So that next sequence,
Okay,
we're coming through the bars, and that's when we meet our man.
Was he not behind the bars here?
When I thought he was behind the bars there.
No, it was always going to be pulled back to reveal him with the bars in the background. So the bars were.
I thought it came through the bars.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're coming through the bars. But it's a question of what point we meet him.
Because he's singing there, "Get me out of this cage."
But
he's outside the cage.
Well, the cage is all around. Technically, I mean, I suppose that's the theory. But I agree with you. I think the natural thing is to put him behind the bars, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Presumably there's a possibility of me...
Putting you behind bars? No, sorry, what were you going to say? Oh, go on, please.
I would be lit on stage in some way that relates to that.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So if you are up there, then I think, you know, if the proportions are the same, the man's there and suddenly Phil appears over there and there's red bars in front of Phil, and then I think that could be really interesting.
Okay.
And it seems that everyone would prefer him behind the bars, right?
Yeah.
So.
So this is what you can get for 10 million, isn't it?
Yeah, this is what yeah. Get my bearings first of all, so...
Yeah, I know, that's the thing, isn't it?
High enough. One way back. It's kind of odd, I think, actually. We've always been pretty much in a straight line.
It is. It's because it's got such a big curve to it at the front. The front is more curved. It certainly was originally. I mean,
Yeah.
that bit there is extra anyhow, isn't it?
Well, there's curve and there's curve. This is a serious curve, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Serious curve.
In the past, we've always had sort of, you know, we're in a line really.
That's right.
Normally, you're in a line there, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
But you won't be, will you?
No, I'll be further back than usual.
Make it less of a radius, not such an acute curve.
A sort of straightforward thing, which would be to use that as the thing and just curve.
It's almost like if the curve didn't curve, it sort of went.
At the moment, you've got a sort of like it goes in here. Do a bit of
We can add the additional 2 feet anyway,
2 feet and
then just adjust this front edge.
But that's okay. I mean, you know, quite warm. It's good.
Do these come this colour?
No,
lights?
no, we made them that colour.
Painted them that colour.
Yeah.
Painted them? Yes. So we bought them or not?
No, we just ordered them and sold them.
Oh, it's just. Yeah. Do you think the changes we're going to make to the stage will be done by Monday?
No, next week.
Okay.
It's hard to remember what lights used to be like, isn't it?
Yeah.
All this stuff. And the guy with a sort of pole banging a car lamp to try and sort of get it.
Yes. Yeah.
And the gel burning through, you know.
Well, these are really good. These have got some really nice effects on them as well, unusual effects. Do the trip out, Dave. We found a really good thing on the brow.
Oh, I see. All right.
The red snake.
The red snake. So
Not the red snake.
The what?
Oh, there you go. Whoa, whoa.
Now put a blue field over that with a blue wash underneath it.
It's always putting a blue field.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Blue field there.
And then you can get some movement going with those.
Got that all the way,
Oh, look at that. Ah, Dave.
Yeah, see, I like this look.
Look at that go.
That's not nice.
Gorgeous.
If you're going to have design by committee, which to a degree this is, then you've got to have a committee that thinks alike. Otherwise, it definitely isn't going to work. I think that certainly with Tony and Mike, they have very clear ideas of what they don't want. They don't necessarily come with a view of exactly what they want. They just know what they don't want. I think that's more the case.
Well, let's turn the lights off for a minute.
Kill the brow, yeah.
Just to see what it's like, what the screens are like. Yeah, I think you should be behind the bars. Where is Tom? You haven't got everything behind. How are you doing? Have you got all the guy behind the screens yet? Behind the bars yet?
For the opening, after we've gone through into this sequence, no, but we can do. But
No. Last time we wanted the whole song up until the break behind the bars, didn't we?
not in the initial brief, but we can do it.
Last meeting we said. Remember last we said the whole thing up until the breaking through. You're going to render it behind the bars.
Okay.
It was after we saw the stuff, you rang him.
I rang Sam.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that here, and we can do that, but we think it will look better without. But I mean, if we could just show you the run through, and then if you want to do that, we can change the channel. Yeah.
He's pretty big, isn't he?
Big boy.
In silence and darkness.
Oh, so you're not doing the first half at all? Okay, all right.
We did most of it.
Okay, what should we do?
Second half. So we know.
Well, no, okay, but you've got to... Yeah, we can do it with the tape on if you want, but I mean, it's like...
There's no tape if we go to the second half.
All right. I mean, we're going to be rehearsing lots more times. It's a tough song for me, this one, so I always kind of, not one I really want to skip.
You want to carry on from the first half?
I mean, it's...
Okay, run back the tape.
Let's just do it again.
No. Yeah.
What are we doing then?
From the beginning.
Oh, right, okay.
Hang on. I've gone to the next half now. From the beginning, all right.
No, I'm very happy to do it from the beginning, but,
You're on the second half?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't care, we'll do the second half.
All right.
4 more times to run through it, if you want to run. Before we run through it another 30 times. I'm going through the motions. I know we need to do it, but it's boring. Doing it here.
It's life, That's called rehearsal. 3, 4...
the silence and darkness. I didn't listen to the songs, apart from what I'd listened to in the car with my kids, you know. So I hadn't heard Domino, for example, until we actually had to play it. And it was like, God. And it was amazing how quickly it came back. And it was also amazing how difficult it was still to sing some obscure Genesis lyrics. You know, being a kind of a direct, emotional writer, singer, you know, I say, I love you. I love you and I miss you and I want you, you know, please, whatever it is. And now I've got to sing sheets of double glazing and nylon sheets and blankets. And it's, I don't know how to do that. I never did know how to do that. And I realized that I was a caricature in some respects, very over the top. I hate it, actually. I can't really watch it. But I've just decided to just stand there and sing it. And I you know, I can't do it any other way. And if anybody expects me to well, it won't happen, you know. Hello.
Good morning. Well, good afternoon.
Finally started to turn up, huh?
How you doing?
10 o'clock. Because we don't actually, the playing area don't look that big.
I know,
which is good.
They're deepening. Well, they are building onto it because it was so small. Lessen the curve a little bit, if you will.
So what are we doing?
They want to show the vortex on the big screen.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Up here, so it's like...
Domino, right?
Yeah.
Whoa, that works.
And where does Phil go in relation to this image?
Well, he can go in the middle of that, you see.
So his feet would be level with the back row of lights, maybe?
Well, possibly. I don't know if we want to do that or not. We just see how it looks. The trouble is, it always used to be the problem is they put a light on him and then it would bleed off a bit into the screen and it would sort of spoil the effect.
Maybe if I could get in front of the net rather than in front of the screen.
Good luck.
Well, no, it's just, it doesn't seem to be so high.
Is that an insurance company?
No,
I think it'd be great if you could do that.
Brow, it's just an idea, you know.
That would be terrific to have you that high.
Yeah.
This is Nikolai who's making our fireworks. Mike and Tony.
Exploding tonight, right?
We're gonna test a couple flames now, and then at 1 o'clock, if you want, we do a little shade.
Can we have a break for lunch? Yes,
do.
I think it's a jolly good idea. Bottle of wine. Oh, sorry.
So, you know, I'm still slightly yet to be convinced. I mean,
Well, I have to say the pyro's here, and we've spent some money on it, but you know, if we don't use it, we don't use it.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm saying that. I mean, no, I'm not being too anti it. Let's see it.
There's something about it that's a bit kind of Aussie at whatever it was.
Okay, Nikolai, are you ready to fire this?
Yes.
Okay.
All sparkle.
All sparkle.
No
yeah.
bush.
No fire. Okay, ready? Nikolai?
Now.
Nikolai? Go, if you want, yeah, go. More of it. Just keep going.
I hear the chorus. I get a nice feeling. People still saying, "Oh yeah." I think we could just make it a song. Try that. Oh, but that's I think could be the placing as well.
I mean, I think it's a placing, and I think it's maybe it isn't.
I mean, you're not trying to make a decision when I'm here, are you? You know?
I'm sure if it was a keyboard player, I think we can find someone.
What's your suggestion? Latest suggestion?
I mean, put that one there. Or
Put Ripples after Mama.
Yeah.
It's connoisseur stuff.
Yeah. I think they love it, but you've got to help them back a bit. You know,
you buy their goodwill. Yeah. You know, I mean, it is. It's like, you know, you sort of slip one in before without them knowing. Yeah. I mean, Mum, you've bought your goodwill.
Yeah. That's quite nice. Yeah.
Marching to the promised land, where the honey flows, takes you by the hand, pulls you down on your knees.
I suppose in the past, every tour was part of an ongoing, you do a tour, an album. It was quite an everyday part of your life, and we haven't done it for a long time. And I also think that doing the book had an effect on us. You know, while we rehearsed, seeing that sort of passage of time over the last 40 years and reading about yourselves, which we kind of know but forget, it had an effect on me. I know, it made you sort of kind of appreciate what we have together. Although we know it, we're English, we never say it out loud, you know, but sort of seeing it written down, I think all of us had an effect on us, actually. It made us sort of think what a great time it's been, actually, and appreciate it a bit more.
You realise what you meant to somebody else, you know, you meant what we meant to each other without each other saying it, which is kind of interesting. And it's kind of appropriate that as you get to this kind of period in your life where kind of, you know, putting things away and dispatching them, you know, it's kind of nice to have done it.
I should think I'm much more higher than that, to be honest with you. But I mean,
It's bloody tight, isn't it?
it does get bloody high.
So, we reckon we can get you up there. Yeah? On the lift. It's pretty high, it's 40 feet. But it looks pretty amazing.
So, right.
Just give us a clue when you're going to start the run quickly so everyone's standing by. We're not sure about you on the lift back there. You know, if it was Dave Gilmour doing a guitar solo or something, that'd be different. But it's take shooting. It's getting worse. So excuse me.
Look, I have no desire to go up there every night and risk being blown out.
This one will be the last one.
This is key number 7. I'm going to try again. I'm going for double figures. 439.
When we had hair, we were good. It's funny, it's the stuff that seems so natural that just seems so alien now. It's not so weird. You know, just...
Do a new one in.
I don't listen to music.
And it's actually wanted AAC instead of high-wall memory.
much of your life do you actually spend on the road?
How much of my life? I reckon I'm told about 6 or 7 months of the year, but it never actually feels like that because it's split up quite a lot. You know, I mean, I have been playing in professional bands since I was about 14, so I mean, I've been on the road quite a while.
It's one of the reasons I was so keen to do this. I felt that it would be, for Phil, it would be like coming home. I think it's taken a lot of risk, you know, because he was kind of burdened with the responsibilities of being Phil Collins and all that goes with that, and having to run the whole show on his solo stuff and having all this other stuff going on in his private life at the same time. And I think it was just a burden.
It's part of what comes, I think, sometimes when you become very famous like he has. You know, sometimes it seems to drag some of this other stuff with it, and it's a price you pay, really. That moment he decided he was going to become singer of this band was sort of the moment when kind of everything was set in motion. And many people would have said that, you know, that's sort of some of the things that are going to happen, you know, are like, it will make personal life more difficult. Because that's what tends to happen. Singers are sort of right there in the middle of the stage, everyone sees them, everyone knows who they are, they can't be not left alone. It's quite tough. I wouldn't want to do it.
I can't do everybody, though. It's not fair, you know. I'm sorry. I got a monster. There's not a mark on that stool. Considering how much we hammered it, it's not a mark. No stick marks on the leather. I was very surprised. It just sounded fantastic. So powerful. And we can start like that and gradually move to the kit. Sure, there's something afoot between me and Chester to start the drum thing off on a stool. Standing opposite each other, which is when we've written these things. And we've got a recording of it, which we just did in my room. And the sound is fantastic. So we're going to try that on.
So I'd expect that, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah. As long as we get the right bar stool.
What are you going to do?
Start on a bar stool. Start on a stool. The idea is to sort of, you know, if this was the stool, you know. So we get that on like a leather. Oh, I see. You want to That was the idea.
We're thinking just nice.
Bar stool. Very loud, is it? The one in my room's louder, is it? I can borrow that one to show you what it looks like. Or what it. Yeah, you got to see the one. I mean, just the kind of the feel of the thing.
Nikolai?
We're just testing them one by one at the moment, I think.
Can you do them all at once? Okay.
Do not fire before I tell you. Okay.
Yes. There's one missing.
Little ones. Do little. Back.
It's impressive, but is it Genesis? It's sometimes it's just that sort of moment, it just takes it over a limit. With this kind of spectacle, you're always working just on the limits, as I like to say, of what's tasteful and what's not. Yeah. And, you know, and I think everything we try and do is to stay within that tastefulness. I just think something like that, to me, just takes it the other side, and suddenly you see the whole thing differently. It's quite fun to watch, boom, but it doesn't do much for me in any other sense, I have to say. But, I mean, you know...
Do you know what we should get them to test? So we should get them to put one of the flame pots on the stage, and it's like a strange silhouette, you know, then mama, ha, silhouette, smoke, flame.
No, I always describe Tony as the conscience of the band. You know, it's not to deny that everyone else had a very, very important role and are strong writers in their own right, and as they've proved. But for Tony, Genesis was his solo career.
It's kind of much closer to the kind of thing I do on some of my solo albums, you know. So if you like the Brazilian, you should go and buy them. It's which no one does. I tend to try and take the group a little bit away from just the sort of doing just the straight pop songs all the time. And I love doing pop songs, and some of those ones I've been very heavily involved in, you know, some of the ones that have been the big hits. But I kind of like, I always want to try and make certain we do a bit more of the other, you know, and the songs like Domino and Home by the Sea and all that. Having said that, I think the others enjoyed as well. It's not really like that. But obviously, when they're left to their own devices, as you can see really with the solo albums, they tend to become, both of them tend to end up doing things which are much more concise. I'm the other way, really. Given half a chance, I'll go the other way. And on my last solo album, I did a sort of, you know, I had an 18-minute song. It's just because that's what gives me pleasure, and I think that's what I do best. You know, just doing everything and sort of, you know, using the sort of 3, 4, 5 chord basic stuff. I don't mind a bit of that, but I don't want it all the time.
Greetings.
Hello.
How getting are you? At some point, and as soon as you can, as soon as Chester, he's got the CD. I'd like you to hear this drum thing because we've got to start doing it at some point. We've got to get that stool up there and we've got to mic it up. And
Yeah, it's ready to be mic'd. So as soon as you.
Well, we had the stool.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, good idea.
Well, I bought the one from the hotel as well. I got it. This is softer than I remember it. Yeah, but this is... That's good, though. Oh, that's all right. That's too soft.